Good evening, everyone. Welcome to CB3 Land Use Committee meeting for Tuesday, December 14, 2021. My name is Jackie Wong. I'm the chair of this committee. We are conducting the meeting through Zoom, and our vice chairperson, Linda, is managing the Zoom platform tonight. She's going to give a brief introduction about some Zoom features and also some guidelines. Linda.
Yes, hi everybody, welcome. Yes, a couple of things. First of all, I think everybody knows how to use Zoom now, but our protocol here is that if you have a question or comment, you will raise your hand for that. The committee always has the ability to speak first before the public, but we'll give the public a chance to speak also. Please put your contact information, your name and your affiliation in the chat if you're not a member of the committee. So we'll have an attendance record. That's it.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you. I see Paul is with us tonight. So for those, let me see how many people are not from our board.
There's quite a lot of guests here.
Okay, so for those who do not know, Mr. Paul Ringo is our newly elected chair. I wanted to congratulate Paul and also thank him for stepping up when the community board is in need. So Paul, do you have anything to say to the committee or the public?
It's gonna put me on the spot, Jackie, right? Just thank you, everyone. I wasn't prepared. I was just gonna come say hi and just come on for a few minutes just to see how everything was going tonight. But thank you to the entire board and for everything tonight. And I hope you all have a great meeting. And I look forward to dropping by more meetings soon, whether they're on Zoom or face to face. We'll see. All right. Have a good meeting. And I look forward to hearing everything tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Jackie. Appreciate it.
And let's take attendance. Lisa, can you take attendance, please?
Yes, I'd be glad to do so. Starting, let me get Jackie. I take it you're here.
Thank you.
Oh yes, and if you have any objection to the minutes, please say
that will
so.
be the second step.
Oh, okay. Linda Jones.
Here.
Yeah. Michael Perlis.
Not here.
Okay. Jonathan Chu.
Not here.
Herman Hewitt.
Here.
Trevor Holland.
Here.
Lisa Kaplan is here. Olympia Kazi.
Here.
Damaris Reyes.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Damaris. And Troy, enthusiastically here. Troy Bellis. Nope, no Troy. And Steve Herrick.
Here.
Thank you. That's the attendance.
Thank you, Lisa. So tonight, our first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes for our November meeting. Let me know if anyone has a problem with our minutes or we just approve it. Okay, I see no questions. The minute have been approved. And so our second item on the agenda is Urban Fellow update on the Sustainability Resilience Project. So just to give you guys some background, last year when we were told fund for the City of New York was looking for projects for their community planning fellowship program, we submitted Dominic's idea to create a green questionnaire for developers to fill in the future, and Dominic is here with us tonight too. We want to use this questionnaire to encourage developers to integrate resilience and sustainability standards into their project designs. Of course, we are talking about like future project, not related to any specific project we are working on. And so our project was selected by Fund for the City of New York, and then they assigned Ms. Maya Rosenfeld to work on this project. And Maya is here with us too. But just so everybody should know, Maya is not paid by the community board, and we are getting the free help. Our feedback and our support can help her and also ourselves to achieve high success in this project. And then, so for Dominic, we invited him because this project is really originated by Dominic. So we invited him to this meeting. I just wanted to thank, it's really nice to see Dominic again. And I want to thank Dominic to take some time off from his busy schedule so he can contribute to today's meeting and make it more successful. So thank you, Dominic. Dominic, you have anything to say before we ask Maya to start her presentation?
Sure. I think one thing to clarify is that it's, I think the idea is, not just about what a developer is, potentially going to do with their own development, but how they can also contribute to the community and surrounding buildings that already exist and, need some assistance in being more in developing their resiliency as well. So, so isn't it, yeah, so the idea was, like a lot of times when the committee would hear, developers, it was, we're drawing up stipulations or rather the resolution, it's sort of at the end, we'd be like, oh, wait, what about like some, sustainability items, that we should get them to agree to. And it kind of is a last minute sort of thing after a long meeting. So I thought it would be good, for us to have some ability, to kind of similar to like SLA has stipulations, so that when developers come before the board, there can be some expectations for what the board may ask in terms of wanting them to meet, certain sustainability standards. And if they're, like as a right developer, hey, still, we want you to, to be good neighbors. We'd like to see you, do the X, Y, and Z, and, contribute to the community, be it like, I think one of the example I used was, like make sure in your new development that you have cooling room space, for seniors to go. So there, so it's, the challenge is really, I think, going to be how do we make this as simple as possible to use, because it's a very complex matter. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Dominic.
Nice to meet you, Maya, and nice to see everyone on the committee. It's been a while.
Yes, you too. So is it all right if I get started?
Yeah. So Maya, you can start. Do you need to screen share?
I do, yes, please.
Just hold on a minute, I'll get you set up.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, you're a co-host, you should be good.
Okay. All right. So yeah, hi everyone. Again, my name is Maya. I'm really excited to be here tonight to show you guys my progress on this green development questionnaire toolkit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to briefly bring you through what I've done so far. I am working with the community board for the whole next semester, so this definitely isn't the final product. This is more of just a first draft and what I've gotten to do so far. So this is the title page. Scrolling down, we have our table of contents, and then we have our introduction. And so what the introduction says is it basically says, why do we have this tool? As many of you probably already know, the incorporation of resiliency and sustainability standards is really paramount in creating strong and sustainable communities. Considering the impending impacts of climate change and how apparent these impacts are becoming, the time to take action is right now. This is especially the case in New York City, where over 70% of our emissions come from buildings. So incorporating these types of standards in the development process will really help us create these communities and just help bolster the future of the city. So how it will work is that the developers will be required to fill out the questionnaire. However, it will, compliance with these standards will, of course, still be completely voluntary, but highly encouraged. And what this questionnaire will serve as is it'll actually give everyone like a real wealth of information for both those on the community board or community members, it'll be publicly posted. So people can see if a proposed project in their community, if the developer is taking these things into account and how it will impact their community. And so this is it. This is the questionnaire. It's just 8 pages. It's not super long. I don't think it would take a developer more than just a few minutes to fill it out. In terms of format, on the left, if you can see my mouse, on the left side of the numbers, we're going to have a column there where developers can say yes, no, maybe, or NA, not applicable, since some of them are more geared towards just residential developments. But how I've split it up is in 2 categories. I have the climate resiliency standards, and then down here is the start of the sustainability standards. And I've separated them because they're two different things, right? Like sustainability really focuses on efficiency. So that's why cities have been prized as being so sustainable, because people live in really high densities, which is great for efficiency. However, sometimes that can be kind of like, it can kind of clash with resiliency in some ways. Like when people live in higher densities, it can sometimes make them a little bit more vulnerable to things like a pandemic or the impacts from, a natural disaster. That being said, they're both of equal importance in creating these strong and resilient and sustainable communities. So it's less about one or the other, but finding innovative ways to incorporate both things. So that's why I've included them both, but I have separated them for that reason. And so in the footnote, you'll see where I got these standards or these metrics. For resiliency, it came from the MOCR, so it's extremely relevant to the cities. It'll fit right in the framework for CV3. And then for sustainability, it came from the 2020 Green Enterprise criteria checklist, and they specifically have a New York City overlay. So in the interest of time, I'm not going to go through like every line and read everything to you guys, but I am going to provide a copy in the group chat with my email, so anyone can contact me regarding the questionnaire. And the next steps for me is that, so from tonight to around January 25th, I will be taking any and all like comments, feedback. I really, really want to hear from members in CV3, because I don't live in CV3. So I want to make sure that it's really applicable and it's what all of you want. This is kind of just the bare bones of what I thought should go into it, but I want to incorporate everyone's thoughts. So I'll be on the lookout for those comments until January 25th. And then from there on, I'll just be incorporating the edits, and we're going to finalize the format in terms of like a fillable PDF and kind of priming it and making it good for to send out to the developers. I'm hoping all edits and everything will be good by March 8th, which gives us a little bit of time before the semester ends, like before I'm done, in case anything happens or anything comes up before then. But for right now, I'm happy to take any initial questions if anyone has. Otherwise, like I said, I'm happy to chat over email or Zoom or phone or whatever on people's thoughts on this. Thank you. Yes.
I was muted. Olympia, are you okay with the font size, or you need to see it bigger?
No, it's okay. I mean, it's okay. I have it in the attachment that you sent earlier today.
Yeah, so I sent it to all the committee members. Olympia, so let me finish this. So the document has been sent to all the committee members, and I also forwarded that to Dominic just a few minutes ago. So you guys all have it, and I believe Maya gonna leave her contact info. If you have questions, you can like continue the conversation with her offline later. But any questions? Should it, Olympia?
Thank you. So I mean, it's great that we are starting this, but I would like to understand, because we brought up repeatedly that it would be great for us to have a similar model to SLA. However, you know, this is like a Bloomberg era document in the sense that you cannot talk about sustainability without talking about equity, right? And there are some very important issues that we always ask as CB3 land use to developers that I want to make sure that we have those formalized too. And so, how, like, what is this grant? I wasn't informed about this possibility, and could it incorporate, because I would feel very uncomfortable having a formal questionnaire that addresses only these very important issues, but it doesn't also formalize all the other issues that we constantly bring up with our developers. So is this grant open-ended? Is it only about this issue? Because we definitely need to start working on the other part if this is going to be addressing only the sustainability without the equity.
So before Meyer give any response, I just want to flash back to, I think a few months ago, we announced it when Dominic was still on the board. We announced that there is a fellowship program that we can submit some ideas, and the fund for the city of New York may pick us. And back then, Dominic's idea, we actually supported to use that idea. And I think you also support that too.
I am the person who sent
yes.
Dominic the article about the heat island.
Okay,
so
thank you.
I'm not saying that the issue is not important.
So,
I brought that issue up.
Right.
I'm just saying that I had also suggested that we need to also formalize all the other questions that we make to the developers.
Thank
about
you. We will keep doing that. We can
affordability.
Right, and I don't oppose you. I think that is needed. We can have a separate project on that if there's any new resources come up, or maybe the next year when they have the open up the fellowship that program again, we can submit application for that. Trevor?
Just want to make sure we're focused on what our issue is here, because we've done this before. So the issue in the grant is based on the sustainability and resiliency. It would be nice to go into talk about a lot of other things, especially in our neighborhood, but we're really focused on that. And we could delve off into all different areas if we don't really focus on what the topic is tonight.
Dominic. You are muted, Dominic.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I know that there's, I mean, I'm just looking at this for the first time, so I would need time to look through it. I think, I mean, I do see that there's an equity section in here. I think what I'm sort of wondering is, so they, once the developers fill this out, it is the what's next, like what do we do with that information, or sorry, the board, what does the board do with that information, and how does the board turn that into recommendations or requests from the developers. Yeah, I mean, I think I would like to look at it more. I mean, I think what Olympia is talking about, sustainability and equity is, they're very much connected to each other, and especially in our community. So, so I think it's just a question of it's the questions just off the bat, look sort of technical, and I think the challenge is going to be, and it's going to be part of the conversation that I think Maya is looking for, is like, or what are those other questions that potentially need to be asked that can help address the inequities around development, and making sure that things are being developed both sustainably and equitably. So I think I do see them as like you can't ignore one without the other. To Trevor's point, though, it's so big So we have to really be able to figure out how to kind of focus it, or like once we get the information, how do we synthesize it in a way that's actually usable and in the resolutions. But
thank you, Dominic. Olympia, you have your hand is a new hand.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So I mean, I am happy, this is my bread and butter. I will help Maya and give feedback. However, basically what I meant, because I actually won another fund of New York for another project, I wasn't aware when our committee put that application of how we put it, because we could have, I mean, I don't know how restrictive is the way it was written, because if Maya has the time and capacity, this could be expanded and include those other recommendations. And the reason for which, Trevor, I feel these are, I mean, if it is expandable, we should take advantage and make now the whole questionnaire address both issues. We may be opening a can of worms the next time a developer comes and we ask them our usual question about affordability. And they said, oh, but I answered all your questionnaire and I did everything perfect. And now you're asking me this other question. I don't want us to give, guys, you've been in so many meetings like I did, where the developers come and they have a certain understanding and then they are disappointed. So that's why I feel if there is flexibility within the grant description to make this at least include the basic questions that we always ask about affordability levels and other things like that, we should do that and not wait for another round of grants in another year or two, etc.
Committee members, correct me if I'm wrong on this. I thought the existing application package already need to ask for affordability and those questions. Do we have that questions in the application? I thought they have to tell us like what is the affordable housing units they are planning for the project. No.
Yeah.
Linda, I have seen that. They have to tell us those information. Linda, you're up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I take Olympia's point, and it's an important one, but it's sort of not fair to add it on to this very large project. And also, I mean, I'd like to go through some of these points in more detail if we have time. If we think about the SLA analogy, they have about 10 things on their list of stipulations. It's not a long questionnaire. So one thing is to be able to refine this down to something a little simpler, I think. Dominic, I don't know how you feel about that, but SLA almost has a checklist now for their stipulations. It's pretty straightforward.
You want me to respond to Linda?
Yeah, please.
Okay. I think that was sort of what I was thinking. I wasn't like looking at the questionnaire. If it's like a early questionnaire, and then somehow it's synthesized into something else smaller for the committee, then maybe that's it, or maybe just it needs to be a more simple questionnaire that is for the committee. Like this kind of reminds me of the way the questions are now. It reminds me of like an environmental impact statement. That I think is probably too much for the committee. I think in my mind, what I was thinking was like we should understand what is important to us, and and sort of the original proposal was like, depending on the size of the developer, kind of is like, what are the key things that we expect from the different size developers, and that's where the sort of the SLA analogy comes in, where it's like we have certain expectations, depending on a location of the applicant. So I think, I think in terms of like this survey, I think it could be good background for to understand a developer, but for the committee to use, I think, you know, it's like there needs to be some way to have it more condensed is what I would think.
And I would guess that some of these items are already kind of covered by the environmental impact statement or what city planning considers, and that they would have already been sort of taken care of. And there are others that are not, and that we need to focus on. But I really have to give this more detailed examination. You did a great job, Maya. You covered all the bases.
Thank you.
And,
But I definitely hear the point on condensing it, for sure. So
yeah, you've seen what a resolution looks like, you know, you say, yeah, we agree, we approve this project with the following caveats, and then we have a big old list, which is kind of Dominic's stipulations. Or we may say we disapprove unless Dominic's list of stipulations. And that list might be 5 or 6 things.
Okay.
But they might come out of this, by the way, but they wouldn't always be the same things.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, I think we're getting to pretty much what I was going to say, that I had a chance to look at it briefly, and my takeaway was that it was really good information that maybe we could use as background, like maybe taking some of this and explaining it to us as a resource document would be really helpful. But because I didn't really understand all of the points, so I need a little bit more background to understand it, and to use Maya's expertise and her time in a way that could help us really decide what our major issues are. And then we could come up with a few points that we would want in a questionnaire. I was taken aback when she said it would only take a developer a few minutes to fill out. I don't see that. You know, it looks to me like it's really, you know, if someone were to conquer all of these questions, it would be a big undertaking, and it would get to the problem that I think Olympia is getting at, that this is one of the issues we really care about. But although developers have to provide other information to us, we don't have our own questionnaire. They provide information that is requested when, you know, they're doing a zoning a change, and then there's a form that has to be filled out for DCP, et cetera. I can't, if it's DCP, I'm not sure, but whoever requires it. But we don't have a questionnaire that gets to our key issues about, you know, not just equity, but things like reasonable distribution of apartment sizes. Will there be displacement? Will there, how does this building fit in the urban design of the block? Is it going to provide better access to a subway if it's adjacent to a sub? You know, like all of those things that we ask questions of. And it seems to me that getting a developer to read, what is this, like 8 pages of a document when we don't have something that tells the rest of the story, it's disproportional. So I think there has to be a way that we make it more proportional to our overall goals.
I think because the original proposal we submitted to funds of the city of New York, I don't think it covered that wide. It covers sustainability and resilience only. We can look into, I don't know,
Right.
other resources or
Yeah.
come up with
I'm
some
not,
way.
I got that message,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
what I'm saying is, if we use Maya's time to
Mhm.
provide us a resource document and a more proportional questionnaire on
Okay.
environmental, then that would be a good use of her time. And then we are going to either among ourselves or for next year's Urban Fellow, we could work on another one. And it's
Right.
probably our responsibility first to talk about what we'd want to see in that, so we can give better direction to another
Mhm.
Urban Fellow. That's
Good
kind of
point.
my thought.
Good points, Lisa. Trevor?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Dominic a quick question because I remember this, but I don't really remember, and I'm getting an idea of what we're looking for. If you had a couple, 2 or 3 questions that you would like to see, but just so I mean, there's a lot here, and I've read this and I understand it, but I'm just trying to figure out, you know, if we're going to get a questionnaire, does he have a couple of direct questions he would ask the developer?
Yeah, I mean, I think in my mind, it was like, will you use solar energy or, you know, some other kind of passive energy sources? Will you, you know, will you use, you know, some kind of like reclaimed water in your building? Will you provide community space for, like I said earlier, like for cooling centers in your building? Would you provide money to, I don't know if there one exists, but like a fund to upgrade existing buildings in the district, for energy efficiency or flood mitigation, things like that. So I think it was more, like along the lines of, will you use upcycled materials, so that you're not just sourcing new construction materials, but you're looking to, to potentially, source sustainable materials in the development, so I think, and then there's like the process of actually doing the development and how do you make that, more ecological. Then there's the waste that comes out of it. How are you planning on managing the waste from the development? Things like that all kind of, are part of the picture of how to, how to have more sustainable development.
With that being said, and I'm not asking for tonight, is what are the priorities? Because I'm looking at this list and I'd like to ask almost all of them in some form or format, but I understand you can't do that. So if we could get some list of priorities, it might be a little easier to sort of grasp what this questionnaire should look like.
That's a good idea.
Okay. Olympia and then Steve.
Steve should go first. He hasn't spoken yet, and then I can go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Steve, you go.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think this questionnaire is really good and very comprehensive. I think it also really lines up a lot with like Enterprise Green Communities program. And I'm working with a project right now in Astoria. So there's a whole, we're using green communities where there's a whole checklist that kind of, is similar to this. And, it asks if the developer is going to be, using electric energy or what the heating source is. And so you have all this stuff has to be filled out as part of that. So, if you have projects that are using that, I think you could simply ask to see, the green communities application form, because it really will spell out a lot of this. I mean, whether you're having permeable pavers or, whether you're doing rooftop solar, whether you're going to have a detention tank. I mean, you basically have to have those kinds of things in new construction. So I think a lot of these kinds of questions are going to be answered by, if you have access to that document, and we could supplement it perhaps based on what the developer's providing. But for me, if I was given this and if I was coming with a project, I would be like, oh, this is a lot of additional work on top of what we've already done. So, but it's good. I think it's a very good tool. I just think we need to think about maybe streamlining it. Yeah, I would agree.
Dominic, you want to respond to that, or you have a question? You are muted.
Sorry, Steve. So follow up to your question, or to what you're saying. So for the green communities, and Maya, you probably know the answer to this too. So would it be that it's more a question for developers? Will you participate in this green communities? Is that how it works, or is there like kind of boundaries in New York City where it's designated as like green community boundaries or districts? Like I don't, because this is new to me, so I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I know for affordable housing developments, when you're using city funding, you have to use that program. You have to comply. I don't know if all developers have to comply with something similar. And some decide to do, lead design, or they'll do perhaps other programs. But I think we would want to know, what kind of green or resilient program they're participating in as part of the development. I mean, some of these things are absolutely essential. They have to be done as part of a project. You have to do the, environmental assessment and any remediation, so, but, these are good things to, to inquire about, like what did they have to do as part of the job? Did they have to remove heavy soil, heavy metals from the soil as part of the development, or things like that?
Yeah, and just to add on to that, like you said, it is only required in New York City for affordable housing developments. Although, just to be clear, it's a certification. So any developer can go through this Green Communities Enterprise questionnaire or whatever, but it's a certification that they get. So that's the format in which it's given.
Olympia.
Thank you. So I agree with, the way Lisa summarized and expanded what I was saying, and also with Steve and everybody who's saying condensing, etc. So I have a suggestion. Maybe we could create a team of us that help Maya if she cannot extend within the purview of this grant. And because we have I can imagine, like, if we spend a few minutes among us, we know what are the questions that we always ask. Because another concern that I have is where with SLA, there is a quid pro quo almost, like if you do the stipulations, we're going to allow you to stay open later, or we're going to give you different hours, etc. In our committee, because there are other formal processes, whether it's a ULERP or a 421 or whatever it is that it's going to be called in the future, I would make it more like a streamlined checklist that contains the part of, whatever green priorities we want to have. Like in our area, I would focus with, because of seniors, on heat island and flood, because of the proximity, and work around those issues. Maybe, I don't know, but the thing is, my suggestion is, because this is a bit complex, and it's great that we have Maya, if I offer myself, if anybody else wants to step up, and if the chair thinks it's a good thing, that we can meet separately as a working group and write this up and discuss it with Maya, see the grant application, because it would be really sad if she does all this work and then it ends up something that we cannot really use, or it doubles with what is already there. So I offer myself, and I want to push some others to come and work.
Thank you, Olympia.
Or also I can come and interview you. Like I can come and interview, like for 30 minutes, Steve, 30 minutes, Damaris, Lisa, and we can take it from there.
Any other comments? Okay, I think on that, this is a ongoing project. It definitely need to be modified. And hearing from all the committee members, looks like there's a common desire for the questionnaire to be condensed I hear that that is like a common desire. And then whether we are adding questions on other aspects such as affordability or like Olympia said, developers community giveaway or others, other factors. I think we may have to come up with certain, like have a separate discussion first, and also whether we should incorporate those questions in this questionnaire or not. That will require a separate conversation, I think. And I also want to make sure that anything we change still comply with the funding guidelines. That all we also need to be careful, because we already submitted a proposal. We just don't want them to see the end product that much difference from the original proposal. I guess that probably something we should pay attention to too. Maya, you have any thoughts on that?
Initially, I think including a section on equity is a really good idea. I'd be happy to do that. I know it is a little bit outside the scope of what was directly assigned to me. But that being said, equity is a huge part, like we said, of sustainability. So I think that that's a great idea. I also really like the working group idea. I appreciate all of your feedback already. I really appreciate like the direction, and I'm totally fine with condensing it. I think these are all really great ideas. So I'm super willing to work with anyone who is willing to work with me. So again, I'm going to put my email in the chat. And like I said, I'm willing to meet, Zoom, talk, and we'll make this something that's really useful and impactful for the district.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you. Any other questions, committee member? Being none, we're gonna wrap up this topic. Thank you so much, Maya, for coming to present this great project to us. Thank you so much, and we're gonna continue to work with you. Okay, good night. Bye. Okay, let me see. The next item on the agenda is DCP presentation of new website tools regarding principles of good urban design. We have Julian Snack from DCP. Julian, are you here?
Yes,
yes.
I'm.
Hey, Julian.
Yeah, can you hear me well? Yeah.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, my connection is not super good, so maybe I'm going to close my camera, and I'm going to share my screen. I have a quick presentation to share with you, but I cannot share my screen now.
I just made you a co-host. You should be okay now.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, you can see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. So yeah, so this is an initiative that the Department of City Planning worked on during the past year. It's the pandemic, and also the need for social and racial equity in New York really pushed us as a department and as a team to really think through those principles of good urban design. Those principles of good urban design already exist. Actually, they are part of a process that we've been using at the Department of City Planning since 2017. We created those good urban design principles about 5 years ago. But when we created them, like back in 2017, they were really carved out by practitioners, by architects, by city planners, by urban designers, and without really questioning if those principles also would resonate with every communities of New York City. So those, just to sum up those 4 urban design principles today, that you can find in the Department of City Planning website. One is about like sense of place and how good urban design should reinforce the sense of place of neighborhood. Another one is about the details that are supposed to ensure the quality, the durability, the stewardship, and the maintenance of all public realms of New York City. Another one is about accessibility of the public realm and how good urban design should ease the movement of people around the city. And the last one is about comfort and how good urban design should ensure that our city is comfortable, welcoming, and feel safe to all. So from those urban design principles that we created 5 years ago, that we thought that maybe were a bit technical and very like jargony, we really thought that they needed to be refreshed and to be shared with all New Yorkers, and just to better reflect and to better resonate with all New Yorkers when it comes to the public realm. So the idea around those new, those refreshed urban design principles is really to create an interactive website. So this website is already live. It was released in September, and I'm going to make a demonstration of it like in a few minutes. And the idea of this interactive website is really to engage with all communities of New York City in order to improve the public realm, their built environment, and ensuring that those urban design principles that I just talked about really incorporate all neighborhood perspectives and needs. So the website, and you will see it when I'm going to walk you through the website. It's the language that we use is really meant to talk to every New Yorkers, and the audience that we are targeting first and foremost is the general public, the community boards, the schools and youth, organizational partners, community-based organizations, business improvement districts, and so on, and also other city agencies, practitioners, architects, developers, and so on. So yeah, the presentation that Maya just made actually resonate a lot with this project also, and I think it's very interesting that we are presenting the same night. Some of the objectives of this interactive website. So in the short term, it's a way for the Department of City Planning to improve the way we've been engaging with New Yorkers. It's also to offer an educational tool specifically on urban design, and also to update those principles of good urban design to better reflect the perception of New Yorkers towards the public realm. And in the long term, the idea is to inform the community district's needs, as well as to plan for a more equitable city. So the website is made of 3 activities, and through those 3 activities, we are going to collect data and to use them to better refresh the urban design principles, and also in the future to better inform the community needs of each community district of New York. So there's a survey, and that is kind of the main component of the 3 activities. And in this survey, we ask a lot of questions about like where the participant of the survey is living, since when the participant has been living in the neighborhood, and also like asking them how they identify themselves. And we also kind of start to ask questions about those urban design principles and what part of those urban design principles resonate the most with them. So the survey is going to inform the rewriting of the urban design principles, and it's also going to to inform us about what principles is most important for what community of New York City. So the idea at some point is also to have a map and to map all those the ends, the responses that we're going to get from the survey. The ideas activity in the middle is really asking people to share stories about their neighborhood, what they like, what they don't like in their neighborhood, and to have really some kind of qualitative aspect of what people, what matters for people in their neighborhood. And this ultimately will potentially illustrate the community needs statement. And then you have the forum, and it's a forum where we invite people to really share their ideas on the urban design principles as they are today, and to offer suggestions to make them better, and also to add ideas that we probably didn't think of. And there's also something that might be very interesting for you as a resource and for New Yorkers, but also for community boards. We created a community planning guide that is embedded within the website, and that I will show you also in a minute. So what we have heard thus far, we already met with other community boards and also other city agencies, and really like trying to get the word spread as much as possible. And so far, thus far, people really expressed a lot of excitement about this new tool and new resource for communities to advocate for better urban design in their neighborhoods. But as well as like some concerns, like why the timing now? Why are we coming with this refresh of urban design principles just at this moment? What about the accessibility? Also about the language, because yeah, the website is mainly in English, but we have been trying to make a very big effort to translate the website also in the main language of New York City, and also like a lot of people don't have necessarily access to internet. So the survey is just on the internet today. So how we can also like reach out to people who don't use internet. And also, yeah, how the data will be analyzed, communicated, and used to genuinely improve New Yorkers' public realm. And actually, the plan is really to during the spring to come back to New Yorkers and committee boards to present the results of the survey and the forum. So this is like pretty much like the next steps. So the survey and the forum in the website are going to be open till the end of February. So during that time, we will continue to collect feedbacks on the survey and the forum. And the rest of the website is going to stay alive for forever. And the activity that is called Ideas, where people can share their ideas about their neighborhood, it will remain open for much longer than the survey and the forum. So then, March 2022 and spring 2022, we're going to review the data and prepare documents to be shared with New Yorkers. And then having a public release during the summer. I'm going to share now the website itself. It's going to take 5 minutes. I'm going to stop sharing this one. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay, so this is the website. So the URL is pretty straightforward. It's goodurbandesign.nyc. And the main image is an animation. It's a 4-minute long animation that explain what is urban design and why it's important to why urban design is so important, and why is it so important to have an interest and to take care of the public realm and the built environment that surround us. And the animation is also in Spanish. So and then since the animation is embedded in YouTube, there's the possibility to have closed caption for the animations that and so it's translated like in most of the language that you can find in New York City. On the top left, also, you have the possibility to select the language. I can just show you quickly. If you select, for instance, I'm French, I selecting French. But yeah, and so you can have a translation of the website in the language that you are the most comfortable with. I'm going to go back to the English one. So if you scroll down, the website is pretty straightforward. So yeah, we present quickly the website and why we are engaging with New Yorkers, and then you have like the three activities I talked about a bit earlier during the presentation. And then if you scroll down a bit down, also you have like we do have an explanation about how the feedback are going to be used. And that the website, the refresh of the urban design principles are going to be released in the first half of 2022. And this is the document I talked about a bit earlier, that is called the Community Planning Guide. And this is a very interesting document for New Yorkers to use and the member of your community to know quickly if they have an idea about their neighborhood that they want to see developed. It can be something that very straightforward, like just to have like requesting a tree or a park bench or street lights or community gardens, to bigger ideas about like if what about having like a neighborhood plan for your neighborhood, or you can also like the third bucket here. It's really like to get to know about projects that are going on in your neighborhood and how to be involved in those projects. So this is like a diagram that that could help people actually to get to know how to be involved in the planning of their neighborhood. And you see the stars with the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 here. If you click on them, it brings you to another page that is called the Citizens Guide to Planning. And we created that because we realized that we didn't have a website or document that kind of sum up all the other department of New York City that have a stake in the public realm, such as DOT, Parks and Recreation, and so on. And what you can see here, so I clicked on the star number 1, and you have like this list of what about if I want to require a bike lane or bike rack. So if you click on those on those links, it brings you to the right website, and you can request the thing that you see here. And it's kind of the first time that we were able to bring all those things together in one page. And you have like also like other ways to use this page actually, depending on the question that you have about planning and urban design. And here you have like if the project being reviewed by the city, and you have like links to the Department of Buildings, as well as the Public Design Commission, the Landmarks Preservation Commission, and so on. And also like something about ULURP, just for people who are interested in knowing where a specific project in their neighborhood, at what stage the project might be in the ULURP process. And we also offered like links the committee boards if people wants to get a better access to their committee boards and so on. And you also have like the 197A plan shortcut to better know what this thing is about. So this is pretty much like the website. So once again, it's going to be open till the end of February. And I'm here also to for you to help us to spread the word and to reach out to the people of your community for people to interact with this website. So far, we had almost 600 responses for the survey. For a website that was launched for the city, it's pretty a good number, but we want even more to make the data even more palatable. And so, yeah, we really invite you to spread the word and to help us to communicate on this project. Thank you. I'm here for any questions you might have.
Thank you, Julian. Julian, I have a question. So I want to know like what kind of data is already uploaded to the website. Like for example, if I want to see how many DHS Department of Homeless Services facility in our community, within our community district, am I able to find that information from your website?
You're not right now actually, but it's a very good point, and actually it's something that we could really add to the last page I shared with you. I think it might be something that might be because yeah, this website actually we are kind of still building it as we go.
Okay.
And as we are having those outreach with community boards, we are adding some elements that might be missing today actually to the website. So this is a pretty good idea, and it might be very interesting to have it also on that citizens guide to planning.
I think one of the topics people are talking about now is fair share analysis, and people want to know across community boards like what is the fair share looks like, and if it will be helpful if those information we can, like there's a place we can find those information. Of course, fair share can be difficult to understand or actually conclude, but at least we would have some idea like how does different facilities are distributed in the city.
This is Jackie.
Yep.
Also, hi everyone. Good to see you.
Hi.
So we actually have a capital planning has a facilities tracker. I posted the link in the chat. It sounds like that's kind of what you're looking for. That doesn't capture maybe everything, but it's pretty comprehensive, and you can kind of see the distribution of different types of facilities throughout the city, but throughout the district. And it sounds like that's something that our team's exploring. We would just add this as something on the website.
Thank you so much, Matthew. Thank you, Jeffer.
All right, thank you for that. And I'm going to ask a question, which may not be within urban design, and I think it should be, but it's just more of a sort of an observation. When you talk about good urban design, do you consider neighborhood character? I know when we discuss or when we talk about a neighborhood, we tend to look at built structures and not actually the neighborhood itself, whereas a certain structure or building or a community facility may be appropriate in one area but may not be appropriate in another. And I'm wondering if we're looking at that particular aspect when we do this survey or when we talk to people to preserve neighborhood character as it relates to people.
It's a very good point actually, and so that's why we really invite you actually to share your ideas about it in the forum where you can really discuss this specifically when talking about the the principle that is about the sense of place and the character. And it's very true actually that so most of the time people might think that sense of place is about architecture and the quality of the architecture of a specific neighborhood, but it's more than that, and it's very important also to talk about the specificity of the cultures and people who are living in those neighborhoods. And
thank you, Julian. Olympia. You're muted, Olympia. Are you?
Sorry, I had my mic up. So thank you, Julian, and very nice to see you again, Matthew. Where do I start? So, I mean, 600 people is nothing, you know, it's 8 million people who live in this city. And so whatever you're going to end up doing with whatever material you collect from this website, we need to make sure that it's taken with a grain of salt, because we really don't know who's reached, etc. So it could be manipulated. But the most important thing that I had to say, especially because I used to be the executive director of the Institute for Urban Design, is one of the biggest challenges with anything that has to do with urban design is that it's a combination. So it's not DCP, but it is DOT, it is Parks Department, it is the Sanitation Department, etc. So I think if this project is a stepping stone for, there are 3 issues that are happening right now in the city. The new mayor and many others have been talking about establishing a czar of public space. There is the conversation that our speaker was trying to steamroll, and I think we're going to have to confront again about comprehensive planning. And then there is the third issue of course, what's going to happen to the sheds, you know, and the use of public space. And all these 3 issues, I could see how they could benefit by a tool like what you're building, as long as the tool is rigorous and cannot be manipulated, and it is inclusive of all these complexities of the other agencies. And so I don't know how much money you have to build this tool, and what is your long-term, goal with it. But if you want it to be meaningful, all these things I think need to be addressed. Thank you.
Anyone want to comment on that?
I would just say send the emails out then. I mean, this is kind of why we're coming around. You're our first stop into the community. So please, please, please send it to your networks. It's through the end of February, so we have some time. We hope to get, if we get all 8 million, that'd be great. But I mean, if we kind of look at what the participation is at just land use committees generally, we know it's going to be a fraction of that. So, but please do send it around. If you have a group that needs a little bit more information on it, we're here.
Matthew, and do you know if there is buying from DOT and the other, agencies that oversee urban design?
So the tool itself is, Julian can kind of talk to it more, but it is broad in what it's asking. So it's a survey, right? So it's a survey asking what you think of your community at a high level. If there's specific examples you like or don't like, you can talk about anything. And so this is something that maybe it's not within like going out to DOT directly with like, oh, we got to put bike racks here because that's their jurisdiction, but that's certainly something that could be captured.
Yeah, and something that I might forgot to tell also, when we built those urban design principles back in 2017, it was with DOT, it was with Sparks, it was with all the agencies of New York City with a stake in the public realm. So they know about them, and we shared the new version also, the website, they're very excited about it, and they agree also that there's a piece missing about like to put all those things together and to be a bit more like legible for all New Yorkers.
Thank you, Julian. Linda.
Julian, you're some kind of a radical to put this together. I've not ever seen anything like this in New York City. I hope it works. I did know about it in the past, and I did fill out the first section. I don't think New York City really has urban design in the sense that we care about what the buildings that we build look like or how they fit into the communities where they're put up. So we'll have a lovely historic neighborhood, landmarked or not, and suddenly there'll be some horrible tall glass thing will stand up in the middle of it. And the way we do planning in New York City, that's perfectly fine, as long as it has the right FAR and all of that. So I have lived in other cities, San Francisco in particular, where planning includes looking at the design of these buildings. So my beef is I'm kind of a landmarks person, as everybody knows, but I love modern architecture, good architecture. It thrills me, but I hate these horrible glass things that just pop up in my neighborhood. And in my community that I live in a large co-op, and I run a community group that has several hundred members, and people are just mad as hell at me because I'm on the community board and they think I'm responsible for these awful buildings. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, you know, I'm from Paris, so it's urban design is very at the center of the conversation, and some people in my office think that I want to transform New York into Paris. It's not my goal, but but it's I don't know if I have a clear answer about it, but it's probably a lot about the process that we have in New York City that are not the same as in other cities, and where yeah, we have this system of as of right also, and that that also doesn't allow us to look at all the projects coming in, and so it's I think yeah, there's a lot of things that put together participating in this this fact that maybe yeah, urban design is not as the main thing, the most important thing that we are looking at when we are looking at the city. We are trying our best as urban designers working for the city, and that's why we also created this website. And I really invite you to watch the animation. And the good thing with the animation, it's really, it talks to everyone, and it talks to kids also. And I think if you could also share the animation with youth, it would be great, because they are the next person to who are going to take care of all those things.
Thank you, Julian. Any other questions? Looks like none. Okay, so thank you, Julian and Matthew, for joining us tonight, and also share this the good urban design project with us. And I also want to thank especially Matthew, because the website you point me to is really helpful. Thank you so much. I've been looking into the fair share analysis just to get an idea, like what facilities are in a community, whether it's this community board or this community district or other community districts. I'm trying to make sense. Thank you so much, Matthew, and thank you, Julian. Thank you. Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
The last item on the agenda is the NITA subcommittee report. So I'm just going to do a brief report on that. I was the acting chair for the last meeting, but the next meeting I wouldn't be the chair anymore. So we discussed the blueprint legislation, and the tenants still really worry. The tenant representatives are still really worried about privatization, and also the future tenants, the future governance of the structure, because tenants feel like they are not really empowered, and also they feel the outreach is not enough. So it looks like the blueprint, the legislation is not going to come back the near future. Damaris was there as well. Damaris, correct me if I'm wrong. So it appears to me it would take a long time for the blueprint to happen. And also you may have already know, Paul appoint Alicia as the new chair for the NITRA subcommittee. So the next meeting, I don't have to chair anymore. For the NITRA subcommittee. Any question? I haven't finished the what's that called? I have not finished the minutes for the NITRA subcommittee meeting. Once that are finished, I'll send it to you. Send them to you. Okay, no questions. So do we have a motion to adjourn? Damaris, you have something to say?
No, I just wanted you to know that I was here.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions for me? And I'm happy to answer them.
One quick question is, normally if she is the chair of the subcommittee, she should join then this committee.
There's no guidelines saying that the chair should join this committee. But if the chair wants to join this committee, I don't see why not to let it would be actually helpful because I don't have to report. The chair can report it himself or herself. That was actually more convenient for me, so I like that idea. But it's not
We should just read in the bylaws. I'm not sure whether that's a requirement. Lisa, do you remember?
I don't believe it is, but I'd have to double check.
Yeah, I think it used to be. I don't know, maybe it's no longer.
Well, if it is in the bylaw, that will even be better for myself because I can ask the chair to report the committee affairs instead of me reporting them. Any other questions? But thank you for bringing that up. Maybe we should look into the bylaw to see if there's actually a requirement the subcommittee chair need to be present at that governing committee. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
We've got to do the attendance.
Oh,
we got to do the attendance, right?
Okay. So Olympia motion, any second?
Second.
Thank you, Herman. Lisa, you're gonna do the roll calling, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Jackie, you're here.
Yes.
Linda, you're still here, right?
I'm
Running the
here.
meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Michael Peerless, have you appeared?
No, he couldn't make it.
Okay. Jonathan?
No.
Herman?
Yes, here.
Trevor?
Yes.
Lisa's here. Olympia?
Here.
Damaris?
Here.
And Troy?
Yeah.
That was, yes, you're here now, right, Troy?
Yes.
Thank you. And Steve?
Here.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you. See you soon. If anyone is going to Christmas party, we will have a blast there. Okay.
Bye-bye.
It's next week, right?